Well, I'm not sure what's going on here today, but it looks like I actually have a working recording. I switched from the bench camera and computer to the desktop computer, and I ran the cables across and still had a similar problem. But anyway, so today we're going to be putting Raspberry Pi 3B Plus into the Flirk 3B case, hopefully being able to fit a real-time clock in here. It's just a little bit of housekeeping to try and get my benches a little more organized. Hopefully. You know, I wanted to use the Flirk case, but maybe not, because I would prefer having access to my GPIO. All right, hell with it. Let's just do it. Sometimes you just have to say, let's do it. 3B Plus. Seriously, the pad, the little heat pad is stuck. There we go, I got it now. It was stuck on a corner inside the bag. Well, that's just a little maddening. Yeah, I'm not keen about that. I wish I would have thought this through a little more. All right, and already my RTC is interfering. Okay, so hopefully I got the brightness adjusted right too. As I started building this and started, getting things laid out and ready to assemble, I ran into a problem, and it became readily apparent as I was assembling it, because one of my goals for this 3B Plus was to also be an NTP server, Network Time Protocol, for my network. So you see that the real-time clock module is a very simple drop-in fit. However, here is the processor. Here, just clamshelled open, is the heatsink tower on the Flirk case. The two don't work together. I'm not sure if you can see that down in there or not. Yeah, you can kind of see the yellow. That's the capacitor on the RTC. It strikes so I had them clamshell like that. The edge of this is actually making contact with this edge of the tower. So, not sure what to do here. All right, so one piece is out of the way for today, because I need to think about what I want to do with that. So another project idea, pardon my reach here. Oops, that's not the one I want. Anyway, another project idea was with either a 3B Plus or a 0, using the 3.5-inch touchscreen display to build a small compact terminal. All right, so would it make more sense to, let's move that over there. I'm trying to stay on camera, but I can't see my view because it's back over here on my desk. The bench recording system is acting a monkey today. So yeah, would it then make more sense to use A0W? If I'm shooting stills only, I don't need a lot of horsepower. Now you can see already I've shrunk that form factor pretty significantly. Interesting. So I would need to convert. Let's just do this real quick. From mini to, as I pull out an HDMI cable here. Don't mind me rigging stuff up on the fly. So I would need to plug in there. Okay. Bring HDMI around. Plug in there. The trick is I'm holding this in my hand, so I'm trying not to impart too much force on the pins. So now as we boot up, we will be or should be, there we go. We're bringing up one of the old bird cams on the display, although that's going to be a tiny display. Obviously I need to change the settings so that it knows the correct screen size. Right now it's trying to do 1920 by 1080, which is hysterical on a 3.5-inch screen. You pull this protector back just a little bit and give you a clearer shot of the text. It's really tiny. Now in this mode, I don't know, does the power button, does that rotate or does that, yeah, okay, it does rotate. Oh wow, I actually have a logon prompt. Alright, now do I have any other pin inputs other than, no, we don't. I was going to say we could run it across that way, but it doesn't fit. So no matter what, our layout has to be something like that. With the 0W underneath. And the camera mounted something like that. I could put an extender tube, although it might make it rather short-sighted. Would give it a macro effect. So this kind of gives you an idea. This is kind of how my mind works, is I start with a box of parts. Sorry, again, my view is on the screen back over my shoulder here, so I actually have to turn around and look. But yeah, so I'll start with a pile of parts and come up with ideas. And I also set that case aside from earlier while I mull that through in my head to figure out what to do. Just for example's sake, you saw how long that one took to boot. Let's switch our micro SD over. I'll plug into this 3B plus. I need my HDMI bridge. Actually, let's give it a GUI. And so I don't mess these up, because I remember that this was a camera setup. Let's Control Q. Let me find a micro SD here. It actually has a full desktop on it. Okay, I can set this case off to the side. Okay, HDMI is across. I have micro SD in there. Let's give this bad boy some power. But yeah, that is kind of cool with this display, and it gives me a ton of ideas because it can work as a standalone display. So you could plug in HDMI, plug in its own power, and then just run, from the display here and the Raspberry Pi over here, and just run an HDMI cable across. Little short, flexible ones. There's several companies that make them. I wonder if plugging here powers the Pi. You would think so, because the GPIO is connected. Let's let this do a full boot up to desktop. This ought to be interesting because it's so small. There we go. We got a full desktop. Wow, that's tiny. But no touch. No touch because I have to install the drivers and do something like that. You have no idea how tiny this screen actually is, so that I can read the screen. I'm going to do a reboot here, and hopefully we come up with a slightly larger display. Much better. But that is a fairly sharp display for being that small. And it's connected via Wi-Fi. It's now on the network, but I have no touchscreen. So now I can go back into Raspberry Pi config and see where we're at. Actually, size-wise, resolution-wise, 640 by 480. So what is our supported res on the screen itself? Native resolution is 480 by 320. Let's try 720 by 480, 16 by 9. And just take a look at what that gives us. This would be a fairly powerful pocket PC if you had the right kind of keyboard. It's still legible, still completely readable. And I'm going to do this just for the hell of it. Let's try a little bit of Minecraft in a really small screen. So what else could we do with this? We could see. That's the other thing with the screen. It gets rid of the hat, any hat options other than the screen, unless you do a 90-degree. So there's a GPIO extender that makes a T. It plugs into the motherboard here, comes up, branches off of each pin set, and then continues the upright pins. I'll post a picture down here at the bottom. I could make a small music player with this besides a camera. I'll tell you what, let me shut this down and let me plug in the camera, and let's see what we can come up with. Right. Give me a couple minutes here, and I'll be back. Okay, now we're booting back up. I have a camera mounted, but we need to go in and enable the camera. And I think I'm going to have to make this a two-part video. I'm just going to go ahead and take that off. But yeah, this may end up being a two-part video because I still need to get the touch pen working and some other things. Now the question is, in this mode, does that still work? Yes, it does. Bear with me, I'll flip the video around so you can see my view. I need to be able to see the screen. We need to enable the camera. Turn on the interfaces. We're going to enable. SSH is enabled. We'll probably need SPI for the touch screen, so I'll go ahead and enable that right now. And I think that's it. Up and running. Let's make sure our camera is actually working. Now, what I don't remember is RasPi still. Okay, good. It is part of the native desktop, so we need -O for output. Yeah, -O for output. Let's put it on the desktop. And let's just call it test.jpg. And what will happen is we'll get a full screen image of what the camera sees momentarily, and then it will take the picture. So yeah, we got a picture. It's not focused, but okay. So if we go to our desktop now, yep, there's our picture. A little bit out of focus, but okay, we know the camera is working properly, so that's good. And I think that's a good spot to stop for today. Tomorrow we'll pick it back up and we'll work on the camera layout and configuration, as well as getting our touchscreen working. Be good, guys. We'll see you soon.